The Russian Civil War? Absolute chaos. Basically, it was like Little Miss Dinah drama had a baby with Mr. Sergei Psychopath and raised it on ideological hatred and vodka. We kick off in 1917. The Romanovs, they were a prime example of a whole family being canceled. In a basement with bullets. Lenin and the Bolsheviks, they were the main characters now. Russia pulled out of World War I and immediately dropped into something way worse. Civil War. Click subscribe now for more videos like this. The Bolsheviks, aka the Reds, wanted communism, land reform, and total control. Opposing them, literally everyone else. The whites, royalists, liberals, foreign powers, anarchists, angry Cossacks, random dudes with swords. It was less civil war and more everyone versus everyone Slavic edition. The whites were united by one thing, hating the Bolsheviks. Otherwise, they were about as organized as a group chat at 2 a.m. Meanwhile, Britain, France, the US, and Japan were like, hey, what if we meddled and jumped in too? Because why not? Fighting spanned from Petrograd to Siberia to the literal Arctic. You had trains turned into tanks, whole cities flipping sides weekly, and everyone pretending they had a plan. Spoiler, they didn't. Enter Leon Trotsky, Bolshevik warlord supreme. Dude turned trains into mobile war HQs and basically ran the Red Army on vibes and terror. Uniforms? Optional. Obedience? Mandatory. The Reds weren't exactly chill either. They rolled out the Cheka, a secret police so paranoid they'd interrogate their own shadows. Executions, mass arrests, total control, all part of the revolution aesthetic. Meanwhile, civilians were living their worst lives. Famine hit hard, typhus raged, peasants revolted. It wasn't just civil war, it was survival horror with bonus ideology. As if to confuse things, enter the Nestor Makhno and the Greens, Ukrainian anarchists, folk heroes, absolute wildcards. They fought the whites, then the reds, then everyone. Even their horses likely had trust issues. What was Makhno's dream? A stateless, peasant-run utopia. His method? Lightning raids, surprise attacks, and making both reds and whites look slow and confused. See, both reds and whites kept requisitioning, aka stealing grain from peasants. So the peasants responded with insurgency, aka ambushing anyone who showed up looking official. Government reps? Shot. Tax collectors? Vanished. Military trains? Sabotaged. The Greens flared up across the country. Tambov, Ukraine, Siberia, basically wherever peasants had been overtaxed and overlooked. You couldn't tell who they'd hit next. Think local rebels, but with less ideology and more improvised rage. Biggest of the lot? The Tambov Rebellion, led by Alexander Antonov. This was full-on guerrilla war. Bolsheviks had to use chemical weapons just to put it down. So, not exactly peaceful protest. Even Lenin's old friends got fed up. The Kronstadt sailors, who helped launch the revolution, were like, this wasn't the vibe, and rebelled in 1921. Lenin crushed them, brutally. By 1922, the Reds had won. The Whites, dead, exiled, and writing sad memoirs in Paris. The Greens, they fared the same. Trotsky called it a victory. Everyone else called it a tragedy. Lenin's health collapsed. Russia was wrecked. Millions dead. Cities ruined. The economy in bits. And the revolution of the Soviets. It was long forgotten by this point. To save the economy, Lenin pulled a U-turn with the NEP, letting some capitalism back in. Because nothing says Marxism like just a little private business, PLS. But the Civil War's real legacy, power struggles, Trotsky versus Stalin, was just warming up. Not to ruin the surprise that many part members faced, but you do not want to be on Stalin's bad side in the 1930s. The cost? At least 7 million dead. Civilians, soldiers, famine victims. all lost in the chaos of a revolution eating its own children. Again. The Bolsheviks won the war, but at what cost? A traumatized population, a shattered country, and a government that looked a lot like the tyranny it claimed to replace. So yeah, the Russian Civil War wasn't just a sequel to the revolution. It was a brutal, chaotic, full send into authoritarianism. History didn't repeat. It escalated to a scale the world had never seen before, but would see again elsewhere before the end of the century. Subscribe to This'll End Well for more stories like this.